Hello, everyone. You're cooking in the kitchen with Lynn Stacy. I am the host of the Victoriously Anointed podcast. And if you have been on there tuning in and listening in, then you know that I made mention of the fact on one of my podcasts that I really love to cook. And so, what I'm going to do today is an omelet. I have in some eggs, some mushrooms, two bell peppers, onion, bacon, and some shredded cheddar cheese. So the first thing that I put was my bacon on top of the stove, getting ready to cook it, flipping it back and forth just so I can make sure that the bacon is going to be taken care of on both sides. I like my bacon a little bit crispy sometimes, and just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. In this case, I wanted it crispy. And I also have some butter in a pan because I'm going to take my chopped vegetables and I'm going to saute them in butter. I have my chopped onions, my chopped mushrooms, my chopped bell peppers, and I'm going to take all of that yummy goodness and I'm going to stick it right in that pan, and I'm going to cook it until it gets to the point of softness that I like in order to place within my omelet. If you like your vegetables raw and you don't want to cook vegetables, then I say you can skip this step and we can move on to the next phase. I'm going to use 2 eggs. Using 2 eggs because I want to make sure that it can hold all of my ingredients. I'm going to take some salt, put the salt in there. If you want to measure your salt out, you can. But I've been making omelets for a while, so I just kind of have learned when to kind of put it in there and when to kind of stop. And so now I have that, and I'm going to take the ingredients and I'm going to mix them together. If you have a whisk, it'll be good to whisk your eggs. But I usually just do a spoon and just kind of stir it around like that. Now you should have a bowl of eggs that have been mixed together. You also have a bowl of vegetables and bacon. I went ahead and tore my bacon into pieces. You can chop it into pieces with a knife. And I put it in there with the vegetables. As you can see, they have been cooked. And then I have my shredded cheese in a bowl. And I put that separately because I like to kind of put my cheese on last to make it like extra cheesy. Over in the pot, you can see this is where I cook my vegetables at, but I also have oil that's cooking. And we're going to go ahead and take my eggs and put them inside of the bowl. So the first thing I'm going to do to make this omelet, I'm going to take my eggs. I'm going to make sure the oil is a little bit hot. You don't need a whole lot of oil. And I'm going to pour it in there just like that. And then you can see I can kind of put a little too much oil in there. Now, the middle part doesn't cook as easy. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get the edges. And you want to make sure you run some of that off of there because it helps the middle part to cook. So run some of it off and pull in the sides of it so that you can make sure that all the ingredients cook together. And then usually before I put my ingredients in there, I try to look for the side of the omelet that's the least cooked. And the reason why I look for the side of the omelet that's the least cooked, because that's going to let me know which side I want to put my vegetables on. And that's going to let me know which side I need to flip first. So I'm just going to keep on running that off of there because I want to make sure that the omelet gets fully cooked. And you can see that it's cooking. And as you're pulling in the sides of it, so you can kind of rotate the pan around. Now, this is how I do my omelet. Everybody does their omelet differently, but this is how you're cooking with Lynn and Stacy, okay? You want to make sure that the middle is good and cooked. This one is kind of puffing up a little bit. And so then I'm going to take my ingredients and I'm going to put them in there. Put as much as you want. You may not use all of the ingredients that you actually cooked. Depends on if you want a whole omelet. And hopefully this doesn't fall apart on me. Usually it stays together, but I was like, there could be the time that it falls apart. And so I put my vegetables in there. I put my bacon on there. And I want to make sure that it's cooking and it's developing. And I want to make sure that I'm able to flip it over because the omelet is always in the flip. And so you can kind of see my ingredients on top of my omelet. And then I like cheese. I love cheese. I'm a cheese lover. My family, we love cheese. My sisters, my brothers, we're all kind of cheese eaters, like different cheese and string cheese and just different kinds. And so now I want to take my spatula. I may have put a little too many ingredients, and I'm going to flip it over. And so there you have an omelet that is stuffed and ready and fully ready to go. I'm going to flip it so I can make sure I get both sides of the omelet. The cheese is nice and melted. And I have a stuffed omelet, and it is ready to go. And it'll come right out of the pan and it'll go right out of the pan and onto the plate. So usually when I make my omelet, sometimes I sprinkle a little top of it with cheese as an extra thing. Sometimes I put paste piccati sauce on top of it just to kind of give it extra flair and flavor. It's up to you how you want to do it.